Solo runs, particularly in a team-based RPG like Three Houses, have captured the imagination of players seeking unique challenges. Notably, creators such as Mecha, 5 Points, and Atano have explored the art of soloing, showcasing various units and strategies. In this video essay series, we'll delve into the metagame surrounding this playstyle, analysing how individual units fare against the game's challenges. We are embarking on an unconventional journey through the realm of solo runs on Maddening Mode, a challenge that pushes the limits of strategy and decision making. Let's quickly lay down the ground rules of this challenge as going forward. I'd like to replicate this rule set for future characters and routes. The rules are as follows. You're welcome to pause if you need to, by the way. It should be noted in future runs, I would like to nerf the adjutant rules going forward, but for now I'll keep it as is. Let's get on to the topic and the discussion of this video. Our focus for this journey is Ferdinand von Aia, an ambitious noble known for his meme potential. Join me as we navigate the trials and tribulations of the soloing Fire Emblem 3 houses on Maddening Mode with Ferdinand von Aia. Ferdinand, in my view, epitomizes the cavalier/player phase nuke archetype. His toolkit is nothing short of exceptional, boasting robust growths in speed and strength. His unique personal ability grinding in 15 hit and avoid when at full HP further solidifies his prowess. The arsenal of combat arts at his disposal, including the formidable Swift Strikes, that guarantees a double attack, as both versatility and lethal potential in his repertoire. Even in situations where your stats may be less than favourable, Ferdinand seamlessly transitions into a valuable setup unit with his learned skill, Seal Speed. Ferdinand's proficiency with lances aligns seamlessly with our gameplay style. Access to powerful weapons like the Lance of Ruin, Luid, enhances his effectiveness on the battlefield. His adaptability extends to any weapon class, a trait that proves invaluable as we progress. With meticulous management of weapon use, strategic class certifications, and skill acquisition, I am confident that Ferdinand is well equipped to navigate the challenges ahead. The question remains, will Ferdinand emerge triumphant and claim the crown in this solo endeavour? The answer, I suppose, awaits us in the unfolding chapters. Before we plunge into the nuanced details of each chapter and overarching strategy, let's take a moment to explore the mindset that fueled my approach into this Crimson Flower playthrough. Operating with only partial knowledge of the route and uncertain grasp of the endgame challenges, my objective was clear: prepare for the worst and forge an unstoppable force that is Ferdinand von Aia. In future, I aim to delve into the tier placements and conduct direct comparisons, but for now, I invite you to trust my judgment. Now, let's begin our analysis of Chapter 1. Typically, I wouldn't delve into the pre-Chapter 1 details, but it's worth noting a crucial encounter of the Amiibo Gazebo, an area that yields an assortment of items ranging from tea leaves and bait to keys, healing items and such. During that passing, I managed to secure a pure water, offering a valuable layer of utility against potential magic damage. While it wasn't absolutely necessary for Chapter 1 for this character, it's a notable aspect to keep in mind for future endeavours. After completing the foundational quest for pre-Chapter 1 preparation, I found myself at a crossroads with some challenging decisions ahead. Armed with extensive character analysis specific to Chapter 1, I anticipated a relatively straightforward experience. However, my anxiety heightened when contemplating Chapter 2, a stage teeming with enemies charging in succession. Given the limited number of options available in the early game, dodge tanking emerged as my primary resource. Depending on the outcomes of my stat growth, I aim to accrue experience tailored for weapons essential in the initial stages. The need for adaptability loomed large, requiring strategic adjustments based on the evolving needs of the chapter. In a bold move, I opted to maximize the potential of Chapter 2, pushing the limits to extract every possible advantage for Ferdinand's journey. The initial significant choice I face in utilizing a character revolves around determining whether it's prudent to reserve DLC stat boosters for future use. Recognizing the game's occasional stringiness in the growth department, The decision to withhold these boosters becomes pivotal. Specifically, the +3 strength and speed boosters fall into this category of those that can be spared for later utilization. Opting for the immediate application, I harbored in confidence in maximizing their initial impact during the early stages, prioritizing short-term snowballing over potential mid-game optimizations. With the strategy in mind, I embarked on the mission to conquer Chapter 1. Chapter 1 unfolds a straightforward approach, further enhanced by the current rule set that allows me to strategically manipulate the AI, preventing attacks on my other deployed units. The purpose behind the extra deployed units will become apparent shortly, as they won't serve its traditional roles of healing or dealing damage. One immediate advantage lies in positioning characters close to me, allowing them to equip ranged weapons, or in this case, magic, enhancing Ferdinand's hit rate. My strategic placement involves ensuring that Byleth stands adjacent to Ferdinand as much as possible, capitalizing on her personal ability, Professor's Guidance, which grants units nearby an extra 1.5 times experience boost. The extra experience proves invaluable for the challenges ahead. The first obstacle in this run emerges from the first 3 units, being Lorenz, Ignatz, and Ash. Fortunately, the heightened damage and speed afforded by the stat boosters early on, these adversaries pose minimal challenge, utilizing the effective movement and employing an enemy phase combat strategy. I tackle each character individually, first tackling Lorenz, then Ignatz, then Ash.
Only a fool challenges me.
Note, the majority of my player phase attacks will consist of Tempest Lance, as it's the highest damage output that we can deal in this stage of the game, and it's also going to help with creating a broken weapon for later. Our next point of attack being to progress on the left side of the map, versing Hilda and Claude. Hilda proves easily manageable, succumbing to double attacks with an iron bow. Next up being Claude. While he does have a formidable attack speed of 11, this presents more of a significant threat. To counter this, I devised a strategic maneuver, baiting Claude to attack Ferdinand and orchestrating the ultimate cheese in Chapter 1's history. By surrounding Claude with my other units, I can render him incapable of dealing damage, an unpredictable tactic that never fails to amuse me. One thing I failed to mention in Ferdinand's introduction is he actually has the Crest of Keyhole, the minor variant, which sometimes prevents the enemy counterattacks when using combat arts. With him having a minor Crest of Keyhole, this activation rate is only at 30%. I don't tend to use this during the run just because it is kind of unreliable. With a 30% activation, it's basically a 1 in 3 chance. It can save you in a few situations, but I ain't gonna bank on it. If he had a major crest, however, that's like 50%. That's something more reliable than we could use as a strategy if we were desperate in scenarios that we didn't want the enemy to counterattack. Since I didn't use it consciously throughout the whole playthrough, I'll mention it here so I don't have to mention it later. It is worth noting, however, that when we do use our player phase attacks, it does on average save a little bit of damage coming towards Ferdinand, as when we're using counterattacks, it just means 30% of the time we're going to take less damage. We now move on to Manuela. Despite being the easiest to defeat, I opt to keep her alive for a unique purpose. The trigger to summon all the Blue Lions characters is tied to Manuela's demise. Temporarily sparing her, I set the stage for an XP farm. I box Manuela in with other units on a healing tile, exploiting her limited Nosferatu uses, that being 6. As other characters have higher resistance than Ferdinand, Manuela targets him exclusively, adhering to the rules and allowing for this rule-abiding XP farm. This strategic utility is confined to this chapter and this chapter alone, as setting up similar conditions becomes increasingly challenging in subsequent stages. One disadvantage of Ferdinand comes with his personal skill. With him being at full HP, if he gets a level up some point during the map, if he actually gains a growth in HP, he doesn't get that health that he just gained from the level up, so it deactivates his personal skill. This is something that I was aware of throughout the whole playthrough. It never really occurred to become a problem, but I thought I would mention it here as I ended up grinding just a little bit longer here to get an extra level up, so I had full HP going into the battling of the Blue Lion's house. I proceed to confront each of the Blue Lion's house members individually, accumulating a successful takedown of Hanneman, Dimitri, Dedu, and Mercedes. While Dimitri's and Hanneman's formidable crit rates could have posed threats, luck favors this playthrough, as it seems they didn't really have an effect on me. It should be of note that Dedu's personal ability can come into play here if we let him wait on his turn, granting him +4 defense. This is easily counterable though, as all we have to do is make him attack us on enemy phase. The chapter concludes with Byleth providing XP bonuses and Ferdinand grinding weapon ranks and levels. Through this unwavering dedication, Ferdinand's weapon experience reaches a point where he certifies for all basic promotions, excluding Monk. Through the completion of Chapter 1, Ferdinand was able to learn the following skills and combat arts: HP +5, a few proficiencies in axes, bows, and swords, the combat arts, Wrath Strike, and Smash. As we wrap up this chapter, let's take a moment to examine my current stats in comparison to my base averages and the impact of applied stat boosters. Despite facing a slight deficit in strength, I've garnered significant bonuses in speed, defense, and HP. It's intriguing to contemplate how Ferdinand's progression will unfold in subsequent chapters, wondering if RNG will favorably shape him into a formidable force or introduce challenges. Personally, I find the current stat distribution appealing, especially the notable speed boost, which I anticipate leveraging efficiently in the upcoming chapter. The journey ahead promises both uncertainty and potential. I eagerly anticipate witnessing Ferdinand's continued growth. As we draw the curtains on this installment, Ferdinand's solo odyssey is only just beginning. Join me in the next episode where our attention turns to a formidable challenge that awaits in Chapter 2, delving into the intricacies of the upcoming auxiliary battle prior to Chapter 2 as well. We'll explore the strategic decisions and tactical prowess needed to navigate the crucial phase of this solo run. Will Ferdinand continue to rise the unyielding force, or will hurdles test the limits of our strategies? Stay tuned for the next chapter of this thrilling Fire Emblem journey.